Sponsored by Viva Kia.
I'd love to continue to do medical mission trips, and I had been going to Guatemala for 25 years. There's a team of about 40 of us who would go. So we had armed guards in the bus, and then our convoy of all the medical equipment that we would bring would be in the front and the back and also armed. So a lot of the patients we saw were amputees from the bombs. Amputate this patient to give them a better quality of life. And the organization that I work with, we provide the prosthetic.
And welcome once again to Interesting People with Interesting Stories. And this is a very interesting person. We've talked to a graphic designer, we talked to an HR professional, we've talked to a lot of interesting people because everybody has a story to tell and a story to share. So Sandra Terrazas is the owner of Spectrum Therapy Consultants, and she is here today to talk about a lot of things. So Sandra, thank you very much for coming in and opening up your heart today, because we get to talk about a lot of things. So I want to just preface this by saying that we do not discuss about the things that we're going to talk about. So she walks in today and she's like, what are we going to talk about? Well, I said about a lot of things, and I'll let you some insights too on how I know Sandra. But Sandra, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. I've known Sandra for about 10 years now, and she's like a sister to me. So, but a lot of people don't know you, so.
Okay.
Give me a little recap of who you are.
All right. Well, I'm a native El Pasoan. I've been here all my life, other than leaving for college, and came back, and this has been my community all along. I'm a physical therapist, as you mentioned. I own Spectrum Therapy Consultants, and have a lot of things that I always seem to be doing. It keeps me busy.
So tell me a little bit about your school. You went away to school. Mm-hmm. So where did you get your degree in your practice and all of that?
Well, many years ago, El Paso did not have a physical therapy program. Mm-hmm. So I had to leave, so I did my undergrad here, and then I got my bachelor's in physical therapy at Texas Tech University in Lubbock, and came back and started working here in El Paso. I had a commitment with the local hospital to come and work here, and so I did that. And then I worked in a hospital network for about 9 years of my career, and then was recruited to open up a facility for someone here in town. And I did that for 2 years, and then thought, I think I could do this for myself. Never did I think I would ever go into business. And so I went back and got my MBA and decided to open Spectrum Therapy Consultants in 2006.
So I was gonna ask you how opening up a business came about, because it's one thing to be a physical therapist and have that one-on-one contact with patients and build that connection with your patients who need help walking or or moving and for motion. But how is it that you went from that to being a business owner? I mean, that's a huge step.
Right, I think it started with that, the commitment to patient care, and to value our patients and where they came from, and there are some challenges that we all have in healthcare, and I always thought, well, I can do it for myself so that I could have the autonomy to be able to treat patients as I wanted, and still be able to do teaching at the university and at the community colleges here, to still have that flexibility to do all that. And the only way that I could do it was to be the owner. And never ever, and this is gonna sound crazy, did I ever open a business to make money. I opened it to have the autonomy to be able to treat patients how I felt they needed to be treated. If they needed insurance, or if they didn't have insurance, that I could treat them, or the insurance limited the number of visits. It made me really optimize the care that I could give. And so it started with the patients in mind first, always. And then you get smarter as you, opening a business is easy. It's keeping a business and then multiplying your business. That's the sustainability that makes it a little harder. So again, never did I think I would be a business owner. And then always having the ethics behind making sure patients are taken care of, and that physicians were happy with the services that you rendered for their patients. And then we became a source for those referrals to be able to have business.
So money isn't about everything. Everything isn't about money. Do you think that if you would have thought differently on how to open a business, your business would be different and your life would be different if you thought about money first and not the patient?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It would be completely different. I have this mantra and motto that I guess created myself, and that's the day that you stop chasing the money is the day that the money finds you. And so if you're doing everything with integrity for all the right reasons and your heart's in the right place and you can sleep at night, then you're doing everything for the right reasons and the money will follow. And it may take years or it may take decades, but at some point the payoff is there.
That's fantastic. What a great mantra. We're going to take a little break and we're going to talk to Sandra a little bit more about her business and the changes she's seen over the years, having started her business in 2006. So we'll talk about all the changes that have been happening in the last few decades. Stay with us.
Aquí en Viva Kia, cada vehículo nuevo viene con Apple CarPlay. Mira esto. Hey Siri, ¿crees que soy guapo?
No.
Oye Siri, ¿estás segura?
Sí estoy segura.
Sponsored by Viva Kia.
Well, welcome back. Interesting people with interesting stories. I hope you're enjoying our conversation with Sandra Terrazas this morning. We're learning a bit about what she does and what inspired her to open up her business, Spectrum Therapy Consultants. Sandra, what changes have you seen in this industry? COVID changed everything, but it's not just COVID that you've been through. You've been through a lot of changes in the economy, in El Paso, in everything, even the patients. Tell me about what you've seen, all the changes in the last few decades.
I think the biggest change that is a constant is the payment for our services. So we call it reimbursement. And it's always on a downward trajectory where we have to do more and more with less and less. And so we have to see more patients to achieve the financial bottom line that you want to accomplish. And so the challenge has been much more difficult. You also have seen a big move from what we would call MAPA facilities, right? Like the doctor who had one clinic who now has two and goes 3 days a week to one side of town and then 2 days a week to another side of town. We see that that's much more challenging to take care of the overhead that is required with that. And so we have seen a lot of hospitals now buy physicians' practices, and they become
They're eating up the mom and pop, the
right,
small businesses.
right.
Yeah.
And to be sustainable, then it's usually a method to still practice, not have some of the headaches that being an independent business owner would have. And so we've seen that in healthcare. And we've also seen it in our physical therapy industry, where now the little mall-paws like us that have 7 clinics, I was bought. And I was bought by a bigger corporation. And the reason for that, and I have no regrets in selling, is that I was able to provide more for my employees because I have deeper pockets that are able to get better insurance rates for 3,000 employees versus my 50. Right? So the benefit to them, most importantly, was one of the major reasons for me to sell. The other thing that we also are seeing is that with a bigger umbrella, your reimbursement rates also are better. And so nobody would listen to me at an insurance company when I'm trying to negotiate a rate with my 7 little clinics in El Paso, right? And so now those rates are more global or under an umbrella of a bigger corporation where they have the resources, most importantly, for so many things, but to also advocate for better rates. And so that's what we're seeing within our healthcare industry as a whole.
So it benefits you and it benefits your employees. Does the patient suffer?
No, because you have to make sure you partner with the company who's going to buy you that also has the same culture and the same values that will cause you to pick. I had a choice of 10, I narrowed it to 5, and then I picked one. And the people and the culture was what was most important to me because I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if my patient's care was dictated by somebody in which I couldn't provide the service that they really needed.
What is the best part of your job?
I'm a little ADD, so I
Aren't we all?
I always have to have something going on, and so in the field, in my role, it's like that every day, and no day is the same. And so I love treating patients and taking care of patients. This week I saw probably 40 hours worth of patient care in 3.5 days. And I love being around patients. I also love the logistics of negotiating with anybody about anything regarding business, and also get to meet great people. And I think my greatest lessons I've learned are from patients, mentors, and just people in general, and having this avenue where it's ever evolving and changing. It's just exciting. So I never work a day in my life. You know, it's fun. I mean, there's just so many different things that happen every day.
When we come back, we're going to take another little break. I'm going to tell you about, you talk about mentorship. Sandra is a lot of things to a lot of people. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you all the things that she's to me. We'll be right back.
At Viva Kia, we don't just sell vehicles.
We sell experiences. A lot happens when you get behind the wheel. It's where we have the tough conversations and make the tough decisions, because on the road we find the time and place to think. It's where we make happy announcements or just have fun. Live your best life with Viva.
Sponsored by Viva Kia.
Welcome back. I hope you all are enjoying and learning a little bit about business. Maybe Sandra will inspire you to open up a business and give it that shot to say, you know, if she can do it, I can do it. But you have 7 clinics. That's a big deal. So maybe you all can learn a little something. So I've learned a lot from Sandra. Sandra came into my life a few years ago before I got sick, before I was diagnosed with bilateral breast cancer, and she was the one who found it, because we were on a trip to New York. We just happened to be there. I always believe that things happen for a reason, and God puts people in your life that are meant to be there. And I remember there was a group of us, of 8 of us, who went to New York. Sandra went a day ahead just to check out New York, and she was going to fly back to El Paso and chose to go with us to Washington, D.C. And right before we got a tour of the Capitol, I had gotten my tetanus shot, and I was hurting. I was still hurting, and we were getting ready, and everybody was in a rush, and all of a sudden it's like, Sandra, you know, my arm still hurts from that tetanus shot, and so she sits me down and turns my arm over. And then what happened, Sandra? You take it from there.
Well, my background at the time, I was doing a lot of breast cancer patient care. I was certified in lymphedema management. And so when I turned your arm over, and I know that with a vaccine, oftentimes it's the lymphatic system that starts clearing everything. And when I looked underneath your armpit, then I saw 2 lymph nodes that were enlarged and a cord along your arm. And I remember just looking into your eyes and you telling me, so what do I do with this? Do I see my oncologist or do I see my internist? And I said, you should see your oncologist, just to be sure. And then you turned it off and we went to the Capitol and you made sure we looked tidy, and just life went on. Unbeknownst to you, I was calling the oncologist who you were going to come and see later that week and to tell him what I found, because the immune system can be misleading sometimes, because everything will look fine and then the next day it's gone. And then it can happen. So I just wanted to tell him what I saw so that he could maybe see what I saw by the time he went to go see him.
And when we got back from that trip, it was a great trip. And when I got back to from that trip, we went to see the doctor. But also during that trip, I remember that I was feeling very anxious about a lot of things. And you talked about what I could do in the future. I was still working at KVIA and was getting anxious about my role there, about life in general. Like we all get a little nervous, right? And you said we went to the museum. And you also gave me some advice there. That was a life-changing trip. Do you remember that?
Well, I asked you, what would you see yourself doing later, and you said that you wanted to do something to be able to empower women and to tell everybody's story and to do something for breast cancer patients at some point, because you had always done your Thursday check-in for your breast cancer. Keep abreast, and that you just wanted to be able to be a vessel for helping others and through your voice because of the media that you're in.
And all of a sudden, I found myself as a breast cancer patient. You know, I had advocated every 7th of the month, make sure you keep abreast of your health by doing monthly self-exams. And then all of a sudden, I found myself as a breast cancer patient. And Sandra has been with me through this journey. She was my physical therapist when I was undergoing all the treatments right when I had just had my surgery, actually. So I have some video that we're going to share when you're working with me and showing me what I need to do. So because a lot of women have problems with motion in their arms after breast cancer surgery. And we're going to share some pictures of that. And Sandra took me to every chemotherapy, and not only did she take me to every chemotherapy, she always came with a gift, and that gift was a T-shirt or tennis shoes, or something that she knew, and a little bag with. She stayed there. The first time was 9 hours. The following ones were 7 hours, and she sat there, and I will always be grateful for that. I want you all to know that we all have an angel in our lives. You just have to have an open heart and notice those angels, and because they're there. And Sandra has been that to me, and she's been that to my children, and she's been that to a lot of people. And so she is very, very loved in this community because number one, because your patients are most important. Your family is the most important. So Sandra takes care of her mom. She takes care of her niece. She takes care of her sister. She takes care of her wife. She takes care of a lot of people. She takes care of all of us in the middle of all the work that you have as well. So she's an amazing human being. When we come back and I get to recover just a little bit, we get to recover just a little bit. We're going to talk about what she plans, what Sandra's future plans are in her life and in her business. So stay with us.
Oye, Hugo, ¿qué tengo planeado para hoy?
Es tiempo para un cambio de aceite en Viva Kia.
Sponsored by Viva Kia.
Well, welcome back. Sorry about that. I think it's important to share all these stories because I have always been a very strong and independent woman, and the last thing that I ever wanted to be was vulnerable. But I learned through vulnerability so many beautiful things happen. So thank you for being part of that, Sandra, and for being a lifeline to me and to a lot of people in your world. What is next for Sandra?
Well, I've been working really hard for a long 31 years of being a physical therapist now. The business is the outpatient side where patients come to us. My other business is where we go to patients in their home. And so I have been, 2020 changed a lot. So I think I'm working harder than ever now than I ever was before. And I know I have enough gas in the tank to do it for a long time. But I hope that when that time comes, I think for me, I'd love to travel. And I would love to continue to do medical mission trips. And I had been going to Guatemala for 25 years before COVID happened. And since COVID, I haven't been able to go back, not because it's just the time for me to be able to leave work, leave everything to go for a week and do that. But I would love to basically use that as a way to travel, to see the world and still help the world, and in that capacity.
Before you tell me more about your future dreams and the things that you'd like to do, Guatemala right now, with all the unrest and with all the immigration issues and the planes. And does that concern you at all?
It does. It does. And just right now, there's an issue with car insurances in Guatemala. So they block the roads leaving Guatemala City, which is the airport. Okay. And so there's unrest that way. I started going 25 years ago where we had armed guards that would be in the bus with us. There's a team of about 40 of us who would go. So we had armed guards in the bus, and then our convoy of all the medical equipment that we would bring would be in the front and the back and also armed. And I didn't know that until I got there. And when I saw that, it's appalling. Okay, and this is before 9/11, where you never saw police in the gear that they have, the riot gear that they have now. And so at that time, it was scary. Okay, and since then, things have obviously gotten better. At that time, it was like still during the Sandinista Civil Warfare. So a lot of the patients we saw were amputees from the bombs, from the grenades that would go off still. So I think when it's your turn, it's your turn. And yes, I am a risk taker, but the risk that you take versus the benefit, and I have faith in God that He puts me there for whatever reason, and He'll protect me. And if it's my turn because that's the way I'm supposed to go, then that's the way I would go, you know. But all politics are politics, and we have no control over it.
So you're going to just keep doing your job. Tell me a little story of the worst thing that you saw in Guatemala. We have some pictures that we're going to show.
I think the worst thing is that people don't have access to health care that we take for granted, okay? And something that would be minor for us that could be addressed, as serious as it would be, that it could be addressed within a week, like an infection, just the right antibiotics. They don't have those resources to get a culture to know which antibiotic is the best working antibiotic, right? And mine is orthopedics, that's my mission. And so we see so many young people that go a whole year with an infection, okay, that we treat for a year with antibiotics, waiting for us to get back so that you can do the inevitable, which is to amputate a limb, right? And in third world countries, mopeds is basically the most main form of transportation. So you see a lot of peri-mopey accidents where pedestrians get hit by the motorcycles, or the motorcycles get hit by cars. And so there's a lot of orthopedic patients that are like that. And so it's hard to know that in certain cases you should be already proactive and know you should amputate this patient to give them a better quality of life. And the organization that I work with, we provide the prosthetic. And so rather than make them wait a year, and these people need to work, okay? And
they want to eat.
They want to eat, they have to work. And so the urgency to give them the care that they need is necessary. And so I think the heartbreaking ones for me are to see young people, men and women in 20 to 30 years of age, that need to have that type of a surgery to make them functional to move on, and they don't have the resources, you know. And those are the young ones, and we don't do pediatrics, so I'm sure that would break my heart. But also just normal people that are middle-aged or elderly, that they've gone on for years with ailments and things that could be fixed by a surgery, and they just can't get it. So our impact is huge. And it's so rewarding what we do in 1 week. We don't have to deal with insurances. We just provide the care that we need to provide. We volunteer our time to be there. We pay for us to be there. And the reward is just second to anything I've ever done. So that's why I would continue to do that in Sandra 2.0.
Sandra 2.0. That's fantastic. I like that. As somebody who's growing older, like everybody, right? We want some tips on how to remain mobile and continue doing the things we love. When we come back, we're going to talk about maybe some tips to help you continue being mobile and to help you stay injury-free. So we'll be right back.
Here at Viva Kia, every new vehicle comes with Apple CarPlay. Hey, check this out. Hey Siri, do you think I'm handsome?
No.
Hey Siri, are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Sponsored by Viva Kia.
Okay, we're going to start wrapping up this segment with Sandra Terrazas. She's the owner of Spectrum Therapy Consultants. She's a physical therapist and a person who is a lot of things to a lot of people. So one of the very important things is of course physical therapy and the importance of continuing to be mobile and continuing to grow old gracefully and be okay, right? So what tips do you have to share?
A lot, Steph. So my perspective, I was a PT when I was 22 years old. I'm 53 now. And as a young buck, I was like invincible, right? And I would see patients of all different decades of ages, and now I'm living those decades of those patients that I saw, right? So I have the perfect insight for this question. And so I think the biggest thing is you have to stay active and maintain your weight. I think for me personally, what I've lacked is now like flexibility, because it takes time to stretch and I don't make the time to stretch. It's important to stretch. Yes. I'd rather go run for 5 miles, run for an hour than to stretch for 15 minutes, you know, and that's just because I need the adrenaline from the run, right? And so I think the biggest thing is you have to stay active and invest the time in you, and it will cost you more later in medication and healthcare to not have addressed what was reversible. I think that's like, you want to spend your time and your money on your healthcare later because of what you didn't do now, go ahead. Because your golden years are not going to be that fun.
That golden.
Yeah, they're not even golden at all. So I think staying active is very important. I think usually right around 50s, we all start to lose a little bit of balance, okay? And balance is the most important thing that keeps everybody more confined into a circle of doing less and less because you're afraid to fall.
Exactly.
Right?
Because you can break an arm, a leg, because you can break an arm, a leg, a hip.
So I think still staying active, yoga, tai chi. I mean, you don't have to, you know, I grew up running marathons and I did triathlons. I did the half marathon 3 weeks ago. But I have to myself stay motivated to stay active. And although I have work and family and a lot of other responsibilities, I have to make the time for me every morning. Otherwise, I start to feel like crap, and then I can't preach to people, this is what you should be doing, while I'm just not doing it myself.
What are you doing?
I run every morning. I bike. Peloton was great for me because our city is not safe to cycle anymore.
I know, right? And the weather's been terrible.
Right. I used to ride my bike to Las Cruces and back, and now the traffic, you've got to get up like at 5 in the morning to beat the traffic. So it's dangerous. Peloton was the greatest thing that ever happened to me because I could still get the workout from the bike. I have a gym at home, so I lift.
It's got a great gym.
I lift and invest the time for me that way. Yeah. I wish I had more time. You know, I think in the horizon, once I have all the time in the world to do it, I would still love to do an Ironman. I've done a half Ironman, but it takes a lot of time to train for an Ironman.
Yeah, because you have to train, you just don't show up.
And now I'm older, so it takes longer to recover. And now I'm older, so it takes longer to recover.
Anything that we didn't talk about that you'd like to add?
No, still, I think my city is really important to me. My family's small, and I think the great friends that I've made throughout the years in my lifetime have been great. It's been great to be part of a community that's safe, that is just a wonderful extended family. I want to thank you for your friendship and your love. I think God put us together for a reason.
Absolutely.
And you're also very special to me. You're the older sister I've never had. And
not that much older, okay? No, a lot older actually.
Yeah, no, that's all. And I've always thought my purpose in life was to bring the best out of others.
And she's done that. She's done in my.
I hope my eulogy will have something to that effect, because then I know that I've impacted the world as God intended me to.
You certainly have. She's certainly made a change in my life. She's improved my life and the life of my children, and a lot of the people around me as well. So, Sandra, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Love you.
Love you too.
And I appreciate you for opening up your heart and sharing your life here on this podcast. Thank you, Sandra. And thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this and learned a little bit. And like I said, hopefully she inspired to bring out the best, like she brings out the best in a lot of people. So interesting people with interesting stories. We'll see you next time.
Hi Google, what do I have planned for today?
Time to get an oil change at Viva Kia.